There we go. All right. So West Side Dave here. Peace. And on the bottom we have Nick and
CCA Nick.
CCA Nick is back, and we have a new guest. What is your name?
Ollie Ramon.
Oh, cool. So, are you roughly what area in the U.S. are you based out of?
I'm in on the suburbs of New York. I'm a resident of one of the five boroughs, but I work out in Long Island.
Oh, cool. Fun. So, how long have you been a CCA? And tell us your trip.
I was a CCA from like September 2016 to about March 2020 when I converted to PTF, and was a PTF from March 2020 to September 2021, and I became full time as of September 25th of 2021.
Oh, fun. So, okay. So to these new CCAs, we're like, what tips can you give them? Because this is a lot of these stations out there, poorly staffed.
Especially during the snow too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just gonna say, I know it's a hard road, but it gets better over time. You guys got a career path that I didn't have back in 2016. When I came in, there was no such thing as you didn't know when you were gonna become career.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on when people retire, people resign. But with the new contract, you have that 24 months, and then you still can become a regular, as one of my fellow regulars did a couple of weeks ago. From less than a year of being a CCA. It depends on office. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you and I got hired in the same contract before this new one dropped in, what is it, 2021, I believe is when it dropped.
I think it was 2019, 2020, because I got converted before. I think it was after they announced it, because I was told by my steward back while I was on paternity leave with my third child, that I was going to be converted to PTF. But I don't think it definitely came down sometime after that, standard, you're going to be converted after 24 months. You know what I mean? It was like.
So how's the job been with your kids? You have kids. I get a lot of questions about, will this be hard? Will I ever see my family? Things like that. When you were a CCA and working all these hours, how was that with, taking care of your kids?
Well, it depends. It's unique to your situation. When I started this job, my wife was pregnant with my second child, and she gave birth shortly after I had my orientation, and I had to go back for it. But most of the time I had to work hours. They understood. My management did a decent job at times, to balance it. But sometimes I had to work late. I had to work, and I got to a point like a summer ago. I last July, I was about to go down to Florida, and I had to stay to 7:30 at night. I was not happy. I was generally pissed, but because we had to get down to Florida, and we got caught in a rainstorm that night. But it's just it depends. Sometimes you miss things, but sometimes you miss your vacation. Sometimes you're not able to go on vacation with your kids. I missed a couple of vacations because back when I was a CCA, I could only get 1 week of vacation at a time. So I missed some things. It can be hard, but I made the sacrifices to provide for them, especially now that I have three of them. I want to be able to provide stability for the three of them, and for my wife, and do the best job I can. I do this job primarily for them, and it gives me stability, and I wouldn't change it,
Right.
Right.
So how is it dealing with the snow? What advice would you give carriers who are dealing with the snow? I know Dave doesn't deal with the snow, but
I don't. Yeah, I'm over here in Central California, so it doesn't snow where I'm at.
Well, with snow, I would just tell. Well, with snow, I would get the snow, get the gear you need. I would get hand warmers, especially for the feet, because your feet can get soaked and get cold as hell. Or get the over boots to cover it, if you can. They work well on flat routes, but especially you have to also deal with the ice at times underneath the snow. And you have to keep wear all the gear, like the hats, the shirts, everything. I would wear like under gear, like Under Armour, long john, stuff like that. And I would sometimes wear even double socks just to keep my feet warm as much as possible,
Mhm.
But it's like you take your time, don't rush it. It's longer in the snow. It's gonna take longer in the snow, as you and I both know, Nick.
Yeah,
Makes
being in the
sense.
Midwest it was snowing this morning for Amazon Sunday, and those LOVs aren't good in the snow. I'll tell you, you got to drive super safe, and you got to drive slow. And sometimes the snow covers the ice, so if you're driving over ice, like I've had this on my little bit of mounted where there's a piece of ice, and I press the brakes, but I'm still sliding, and I'm like, please don't hit the mailbox. So you always got to be really careful with that, and
Mhm.
it's rough when it gets cold and snowy, but summer it's cake. Summer it's cake.
Yeah, it's much better in summer, much better in summer. And like I say, even not only the LVs suck in the snow, the ProMasters suck. I once I couldn't move the freaking truck. Like last year when I had a big snowstorm, my truck, even on the flat part of the Route 5, I couldn't get the thing to move, and I had to turn off the ESC on it to get the thing burned. But it smelled like burning rubber now, literally. I was like, oh crap, the tire's gonna burn off. Those trucks are not really made for delivering, and I pray to God these new trucks, if they ever come down the line, that any of the places that we have snow, like in your area, Nick, in my area, that we get the all-wheel drive versions. But the thing that they look low to the ground, I don't know how that it's one of the ugliest trucks I've ever seen. God.
Yeah, someone said it looked like a kid drew the design.
Oh man, yeah, that is. It does look like it. Is
But
there
if they got
supposed?
air conditioning,
I'll take
Yeah,
AC.
yeah, especially with
AC.
you, Dave, you're like being like, it's hot out there, having that AC, it's probably a
Yeah.
life changer. But you
Yeah,
said you got all the businesses though, right?
yeah, I do. But a lot of the delivery is dismount, so it's just that's the only con to it. Yeah, I do have businesses, but
That's
sucks.
convenient.
Yeah, it is. I could, some if they have parcels, I go in there, drop off the front desk. I can stay in there. Hey, I'm gonna stay in there for a few minutes. Most of them are cool. Like a lot of them, not a lot of them, portion of them I talk to. So I could go in there, stand in there for a few minutes. There's a furniture store at literally the last business I have, and there's like one of those boutique flower things, and they have a refrigeration unit for the flowers. So if it gets like 100 plus, I know there's gonna be 100 plus summer. So this coming
You just
summer.
go
So I
in.
was walking there, being there, like, hey, I'm gonna chill out for here a few minutes. Thanks. So they actually let me do that one time this past summer, so which is cool. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. But as long as I know it's gonna start on the East Coast, work its way west for the new vehicles. So
Oh, is that how it's gonna work?
that's what I hear from the regulars that been here forever, longer than I have. So that's what they say. So we'll find out when they actually start rolling them out to us, if they
Yeah,
ever
when
do.
the post office says 5 years, it's gonna be like 10 or 15.
Exactly. But yeah, I've heard there's one in I think there's somewhere in the Bay Area over here that has those in use. Like they're doing the trial and error thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're doing a commercial with the prototype itself.
yeah, I
One,
think
2, 3,
so.
7, like 8. But I saw like the interior design, the tray table. There's like no space underneath it, like for like buckets, like the tubs and everything.
Oh yeah.
Good. Because we have LVs that have different type of tray tables, and like it's like one with the, I don't know what the hell, you can only put one inside, or you just put like a tiny little tray, half a tray or whatever it is, and the ones with the 3 things, so you put 3 trays, tubs underneath. But but the thing is, I see that the new truck has shelves built into it, like, but I want a fourth shelf because I know ProMaster's like a 4 at least, it doesn't
Oh,
make
yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah, that has like a lot of walking room inside the ProMaster, which is nice. But yeah, the ProMasters suck.
Yeah, they're horrible. They're horrible dismounting. I can tell you that much.
Uh, the only thing I
What
can
do you
see them
think-
for is Sunday runs, and that's about it. That's the only thing I see them good for.
Packages, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I've done Amazon Sunday a couple of times, like because around Christmas time a few years ago, our hubs would close, and then we would go out to different offices. Like I would go to places like like Long Beach, I think, in Long Island. They use ProMasters there. Like that delivered so many packages in my life over there. But then afterwards, Amazon took over. From what I heard, Amazon took over the entire business over down there. Because I've noticed that my office, like, Amazon's like dropped like off a cliff. They're driven. I've seen more and more of these trucks driving around, ProMasters, Ford Transit, Mercedes Benzes, and a couple of them actually drive around with the sliding doors open, literally driving down the streets. And I like look at them thinking, "Are you crazy? You're gonna destroy the door." You know what I mean?
Right.
Some of these, and I don't understand. I don't personally. I would not work for Amazon honestly because it's not unionized or anything like that. You know what I mean? If we got the union, which helps protect us the benefits we got. You know what I mean? Especially after the strike we got in 1970 with with Manhattan's branch 36.
Right.
Just if it wasn't for them, I don't think we would have gotten where we got with benefits today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think we had and one of the branch members who passed away, like after he just retired, Anthony Puccio, he passed away like a few weeks after he died. He was like 82 and he worked since like 58, from what I heard. He worked for 62 years, and he was known as the dean of his office, and he was over down there, and the letter carrier academy is named after him in Manhattan.
Man, that's a long time.
That's a lot of money made though.
Yeah, that too.
I could I probably plan to work in my mid 60s at least. I have a couple people who are like the mid 60s near 70 in my office, but there's gonna be turnaround coming around in my office eventually. But one round in my office, I think this carrier is gonna probably retire, but he's like one of the most able. He's like in his late 50s, but he's like one of the most fit people. He's even fitter than I am. I gotta say, can do one finger push ups and everything. He's awesome. He was our 204B when I first started, but he went back to just regular carrying. We have a CCA. I think we have a CCA that's trained to be a 204B. I'm not sure. And we have a couple of the CCAs down the pipes, and I'm just like hoping to God that we get district to get more people in it, because we need to hire for the summer, because I like to be able, because last summer because we weren't staffed properly, and there's still a lot of understaffing. Some officers are even worse than ours. And I know CCA who works in a town near me. There's a 3-route office. He got sent to a place that's like considered one of the worst in our district. And I've been there when I was a CCA. It was horrible. I once had to go to it. They once offered me a van. The freaking caravan door was like off its hinges. And I was like, he's saying, there's no way in hell I'm using that, this. Why are you giving me a van that has a broken door? This is ridiculous.
The Dodge minivans?
The Dodge Caravans. We have a Caravan.
Yeah, those are terrible. Oh wow!
And only half the LLVs have shelves. Some of our old LLVs were scrapped. And we had ones from the MR, and they came with no shelves. It annoys the freaking hell out of me. Even with Amazon going down, I don't know how we need to be, because on Wednesdays we do town shoppers. Like it's our version of Red Plume, and we need all to get to the floor. You know what I mean? And with having those shelves, it's much more pain in the butt, especially you also have a piece on top of that.
Yeah, the shelves are super important because especially on a route like mine where I have so many streets, it's like overburdened. They really need to cut it. But I get so many packages and I need those shelves to where, okay, this is the end of my route. They're going on the shelves, so I have more room. And that's the one plus about the ProMaster, having that extra room for packages. But yeah, for mail, I'd rather deliver LLV 100%. But shelves 100%.
That's our curbside. It's much easier that way.
What are your favorite routes to do? Walking, mounted?
My favorite routes would be walking, but with my couple of my routes, like only like think one of my routes has like any real curbside, but it's only in the very beginning. And a couple of the other routes, one's like all walking. I have the flattest route on my in the office on my string, and it was the route I told you, Nick, about that I got, where was a log jam on, and the guy above me didn't hear about the bid, so he had to file agreements about that to get that settled. And then I have two part of the hilliest routes in like I think Nassau County, give or take a few, because that's where this place is. And the other one's like near the Route 11. Like I have two in one jurisdiction and then three in another village, because the area we have is divided into villages. It's villages, hamlets, stuff like that, in the North Shore, I believe it's where it's located.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
There you are.
Yeah. Disappeared for a second.
Yeah. Okay. Not sure what's going on with your audio, Ollie. All right. Still can't hear you. That's terrible. Gotta love technology, man. Like I was telling you, like you guys earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so man, I don't know. For my end of it,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nick. Man. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. All right, so we're back here after a quick break. Union break. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had some technical difficulties, but I already forgot what we were talking about before we went off air for a second.
So, Ollie, have you had any issues with like discipline or anything like that? Because me being first week of being a union rep, I have to deal with a lot of discipline. Have you gotten in trouble or anything like that?
Yeah, got in trouble a number of times, with vehicle, a couple of times in an accident, even if it's not your fault, you're gonna get, because even if you like get into an accident, it's clearly not your fault, they're gonna still suspend your privileges, and you're gonna have to go back to train that, getting your privileges back. So it can feel a little bit like embarrassing, I mean, a couple of PDIs, they've even had like an EEO at one point, because I felt like they were not, treating me well enough, and not treating me well or something like that. But some other carriers have had more, done with PDIs. But, and I know that a couple of regulars in my office don't take, the crap that sometimes management throws, but, it comes with the job. It's like, it happens at every office, some offices are worse than others, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Some of these, it's, I don't know. There's worse carriers out there than just like, it sucks I've been in a vehicle accident. It does suck.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You gotta just, sometimes it's nicer
right, things happen.
Yeah, things happen. And sometimes it's nice to have a few days off if you're out, be inside doing clerk work. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's there's like a walkout route because like back when I was working, one of our routes used to be a walkout route before before with the router alignments, became a full 8, route, because the carrier at the time went on vacation, and since I was still without driving to do that route, it was no using a car or anything, but being able to drive. But it depends. It depends how fast management will get the driving school to reach. To have you do the class again. We had some senior carriers. Like I got a guy who like a last year or so, had a big, I don't think it was his fault, but it was a big accident. He had to go back to training himself. It happens to a lot of carriers,
Mhm.
You know, it's just the nature of the job. It's just we have these old vehicles, you know, and it's, even though you're training in the driving school, you know, you still sometimes, you know, miss the blind spots in these things. You know, they're not the best trucks in the world. You know.
Mhm. That they're
Right.
not.
You always gotta do your vehicle inspection to make sure. Like I had a flat tire this morning that luckily if I didn't look at it, I would have noticed on the street. So always do your vehicle check
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then there was another time where like this a couple days ago there was a bullet hole in in one of our LLVs
Oh,
and they don't know where it came from. So uh yeah, not good. You want to report that right away.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but at least at my station, there's like literally a mechanic that's somehow got a certified to repair the LOVs and FRVs. So he has, so if we got like something that he could fix like on the spot, so you just wait there 15, 20 minutes, like a flat tire, something like that. So you can literally just drive like a 5 minute, you know, what cross one stoplight, go in there, drive into a thing. The thing is, like, he will not touch it unless you get a repair slip. That's that.
Yeah, some of them are
That's
stubborn.
yeah. That he won't touch it because obviously it's a government vehicle. Can't touch it without it.
Yeah.
So unless you got one on you, or he might have some in there in his shop, just handy for us to sign off and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like the CCAs, like new CCA should just, when you see something wrong with the vehicle, just like write it up. Like you have to look at the vehicle's number, remember the vehicle's number. We look at the mileage, the date, what your start time is. You write. Sometimes if you want to describe it, I sometimes draw like an outline. Like if it was like a pot mirror, I draw like the pot mirror itself, like the location, everything as vague as I can remember it, and
Right.
like is what is broken. Can you please fix? Can it be repaired? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
my mechanic's so big on mileage. Like he's like, if you don't write the mileage, he's like, he's not gonna fix it.
Oh God,
mileage, really?
Yeah, very stubborn.
They require mileage, even though you don't know what the true mileage of these trucks are. Some can have over 200,000 miles because remember they change. They probably change a few engines every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
Especially if it's like a driving route, like they drive every day, like walking routes. Like there's the one strictly walking route LLV where it's like perfectly fine. If surprisingly, it's like it runs the best. But then if you go on like someone who is all driving, the LLV is more like beat up and has a lot of issues and sometimes doesn't start. And that's good thing about being on a walking route, having the nicer LLV. And except on Sundays when the CCAs use your vehicle, then they don't put gas in it. Then one day you got
oh my
always
God,
fill the tank up.
CCAs. Yeah, that's required, especially if you're in the office. Because some Amazon hubs office will require you. When I went to in Eastern Suffolk, the office that I did like Amazon Sunday years, they always gave you the gas card, and they always required you to fill up that tank before you came back. So even if it was like almost full, they always would want you to fill it up, so that way the regulars do not have to fill it up. I mean, the more,
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I think that's like the number one role for rural carriers from what I understand, at least the ones at my office, because they go out like 60 plus miles, I believe, like a round trip. So it's like per day. So they have to fill up before they come back into the office. So it's a lot. It's a lot of miles, man. That's a lot. Yeah, and I usually try to fill up for my T6. And sometimes sometimes I may forget, but sometimes you'll fill it up depending where it's at. They feel where the gas tank's at, which is cool. Yeah, CCAs, if you're listening to this, it'll be cool if you fill up. It'll add 5 minutes to your time. So got to fill up that gas tank.
Yeah, don't make the regulars mad. That's the one thing they complain about every Monday. Like my truck's on empty. So
yeah. That's another thing too, is like when during my academy, way back when, like 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Back in the day.
The guy that was teaching the class, I talked to him, I text him from time to time. He said, right, no matter how stupid it is or ridiculous, if you want to replace stupid with ridiculous, write up whatever the issue is with your LV, wiper fluid, wiper blades, freaking the little door handle, the little nub for the to roll up the windows. If that's like dangling with its life, write that up.
Right.
No matter how it is, just you do it.
I'll be distracted.
Yeah. So that's one thing that kind of stuck with me. It's either though the academy, it is overwhelming. It is overwhelming.
All the definitions, I don't even remember half the definitions. Like stuff I don't even see.
Another thing I wish that the post office would do is kind of like once you get converted to a regular, they kind of do like another, like not an academy per se,
refresher,
like a refresher course and teach you how to actually do the red book.
Oh yeah.
Because the red book, unless you ask a carrier that's been there for a minute, you're not gonna know how to do it that well.
Right.
So
you should go through like a training, like they have a probation, they should have like a refresher training and how to fill out forms and things like that. And like I did these pre-Ds and some carriers said they didn't know how to fill out certain forms and they've been here 4 or 5 years. So like if they don't know, definitely new carriers might not know. So it'd be nice to have that little refresher.
Yeah, it's overslammed. Go ahead, Ollie.
Definitely, especially. I have not used an edit book, but we had recently, our office had to submit our edit books, like any edits, I know a friend of mine who has been, was out recently and he's probably come back this week, he actually made an edit, he fixed, he's trying to make it much more streamlined because you want to be able to streamline, your route to make it like more easy with the travel, And the thing is, a lot of the ed books in my office are still, some of them are still like, pre-route alignments. So some of them are like, pre-2018. So, some of them, because like I said, like earlier, the routes, so some routes like are showing like how the old park points from how the routes used to be, They have to be up to date and but the thing is, luckily some of the senior carriers in my office know how to, to do the edit books right and everything, and they know how to fill the forms. And also in the books, they have like information showing you like what you're supposed to do with it. And also I would look up like any, information, like, if possible, especially since we don't have refresher courses, because I know when eventually get onto the subject, eventually when we get the new vehicles, we have to all be trained again on these things, on these new trucks. It's going to be annoying as hell, especially, and our CCAs go to an office that they have mattresses, the Mercedes, and we're not trained. We're never trained for that. So the CCAs will go and use the FFVs that are remaining, because some offices are getting rid of their FFVs and LLVs like at a rate over here in the Northeast. Even though those mattresses suck, honestly, some don't last like like nearly 10,000. What? How are they supposed to be delivery vehicles? I don't get it.
Yeah, those FFVs kind of remind me of ice cream trucks.
Oh yeah.
Don't know why.
I like the engine. They're much more, and the cigarette light holder mostly. If you use an FFV, more chances than not, the cigarette power lighter is going to work more than an LV, because when that's important, because my office, like the LVs their cigarette light holders don't even work at all, because the MF thinks that's not a priority. So the office that we worked at Amazon Sunday out, like in Eastern Nassau, they get their cigarette light holders fixed, like always, because their office is all driving and like, cluster boxes and stuff like that. There's no walking out there. But you go further east in Nassau or Suffolk or Seaboard, it's a different beast altogether. It's like further west, you get more, walking,
Yeah, more old school.
I love walking bears. It keeps you better in shape, because being in a driving route, that's my friend who's, a Route 9 carrier. For the time he held down a of driving around, he gained some weight on it, because you're staying still most of the time. You know what I mean?
And you get hungry.
I on that exact route that he held down for like when I was a CCA, because one of the carrier who used to hold it had like knee replacement. So, and I held it down, but I didn't know how to manage like the time. Some people like back then called me a runner because they felt I went too fast, But you have to keep, and I could tell the CCAs now, like try to know what the street time is like, even try to have it break down like hour per hour. I know on my route 5, I know the hours for for relay and everything, how to manage myself. I mean, not to go too fast, not to go too slow, just to keep up in the street time. Because people will get on your because senior care if you go too fast, because then that means you come back early, they're going to send you right back out. And you don't want to stop out the time. Take your breaks, comfort stops, lunch breaks, and do it right, because you don't want to get on the the bad side of regulars. I know someone calls me Speedy, it still calls me, but just in like jest now. But that's how it was known, back then.
But we have so much expectations as a CCA. It's like almost we have to run routes, and then that gets engraved into our brain, and it kind of it's hard to turn off.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a struggle too. So sometimes I still get pieces on my T6 string, because if around my string like is open, then I will definitely get a piece on that. And I had to recently hit a piece like it was 2 hours, like almost like 2 hours to the end of the routes, of our 11, because my friend had to go home early. She had to do something, and but I arrived back and I caught that by 6 o'clock, but I had to do the route right, because you have to protect these routes, because you don't want your district to come down and do readjustments. You don't want to like lose routes in the office and add more to the other routes. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, my routes, some of them got so overburdened because you got added on. Like our route 5 used to have under 200 stops back in the day.
Right.
Like, what, 210, I think it is.
Yeah. We
don't have any route. My routes barely get above 350, like total max or whatever. But if you go further out, I don't know a route that in like near Selden or whatever that has 800 stops, like literally 800 stops, all driving. And it's, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it.
Don't get me started, man. There's literally it's cluster boxes and up mounted. I believe it's a little bit over 1,000 stops.
Oh my God.
Don't know how the guy does it, bro. He's similar. He's probably a little bit heavier than you. Like not by much. No, he keeps it steady. He doesn't run. He gets back in a reasonable time for the amount of stops. And my route on the little white thing on the outside of the case, on the side case where they have the flats, says 700, a little over 700, but on the new scanners that we have, it says like a little over 900. So I don't know which one to go off of.
Yeah, I would look online. Because some like this data stuff like that, they have the routes like breaking down to residentials, businesses, stuff like that, to give you the total and everything. Yeah, and I know I looked at some other offices in the area, and I've seen how long some of them are. I've been to offices where the routes are like even like 16 relays for a piece from their office is like equivalent to like a little bit more than what some of our routes are.
Right.
But like I said, it's like it depends who you are, and like I like it where it's flat really most of the time.
100%.
You get South Shore, Long Island, you're gonna get much flatter routes. You're in North Shore, it depends where you are.
Makes sense.
And
so
I can't stand like we have a route that's very a lot of stairs, and everyone hates that route. It's a lot of packages.
Stairs the worst.
Oh, Stairmaster routes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I knew a friend who a former CCA who hurt herself, on a Stairmaster route. I think she fell, and then eventually she came to a point where she actually resigned. I mean, it just depends. But some routes, my strings have like stairs, but I hate when they're icy, especially if they have a certain type of pavement on it that really makes you so slippery that you're gonna fall.
That's smooth.
Yes, very smooth. Like they look like, like white stone or something, It's,
Yeah.
I don't know why they build with those things.
I've
Oh,
gotten I've gotten so comfortable with falling. It's like I just fall and get right back up. It's just I expect to fall. Like it's ice and it's and
Yeah.
like snow covers all the ice that you can't see, and then you'll step thinking it's snow, and then your feet fly right under you and
Oh
end up
man.
on your butt.
yeah. Yeah, that's the worst. The only thing I got to worry about where I live currently is rain. So even then, rain sucks.
Yeah.
to
What
to
do
an
you wear
extent,
for the rain?
I can't compare. I don't have any icy conditions compared to you two. So
Yeah.
I have to go
I
back.
think, yeah, I think Nick, your area gets like more of the lake effect stuff around that area, from what I'm guessing. So you got
Oh,
probably
yeah.
like a little more intense. You get like more intense snow. Well, but it's every now and then we get blizzards over here, but it depends. But if you're in like the city proper, it's like people have to shovel the sidewalks out just to get the push carts through. Because everywhere in my area is like my route, the route I live on is a push cart route, but they have the people who drive it using their own personal vehicles to come from the annex, to come to the relay boxes, and they probably have commercial insurance, because when I started, I had to use my car a few times, like my old Honda Civic. It was just if the insurance company knew, so pissed off, honestly.
Did they pay you for gas?
Yeah, and I would tell CCAs, if they're going for Amazon Sunday or going to other offices, just please, go to eat whatever it is they do online. I forgot what the thing was. To go e-travel. You put down like how much long it takes you to get to, because they base it like the distance from your office to the hub's office, like where you're doing Amazon. They don't base it where you're coming from your home, because I think the hub, the office that I did, the first one in in Long Island was like 30 minutes from where my office was, and then the next one went like nearly an hour, from where my office is, But now the new CCAs in my office, they go to a closer to me, so it's less than like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, give or take a few.
Okay, makes sense. Man,
And depends where you are. So most of the places you deliver Amazon Sundays out, these are bigger places. Like if any CCAs are watching this, like most places you go to are going to be bigger offices, like bigger hubs. Places that like places in Long Island that have Amazon going out, like have like over 80 routes in their offices, and it's different communities. You're gonna go like enough. Some of the hubs, like I'll go like maybe 6-7 inches, give or take a few. It's like some are long distance.
right.
And when you do the job, and I just want to bring up the point of like Amazon Sundays, that ACC is like if you have a system that you use packages, like put the numbers up, write the numbers on it, on the packages, line them up as best you can, make like it's like Tetris, give or take a few.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you not your packages aren't numbered?
Well, they don't really know. Some clerks are just put them in like saying X5, stuff like that. But the thing is, you write the number down like when your stop is. Like we did, like you list like first package, like stop number 1. But the thing is, it depends how big the things are, But because nowadays we're doing not just Amazon, we're doing priority, But our hub, like we get, because the packages are going downhill for Amazon. Noticed recently, or even our postmaster, that the numbers are starting to go down. Like we're driving less Amazon now than we did a couple of years ago, because we see a number of Amazon packages out that I know would have a few years ago been us, delivering it.
Right.
And some fear of my office, the drop of packages is going to mean another route's going to come and get removed, And so that's a downside of it, that because some of these routes are probably based on the Amazon accounts back then, and if Amazon goes away or whatever drops, then your district might come in and might do, route adjustments again, but it really depends. It's circumstance. It's also between offices. Some people have Amazon still, some offices do not,
Yeah, I'm one of those. My city's about 250,000 people, maybe a little bit more. We have 3 offices in my city. No Amazon. Amazon's phased out from the post office here.
Wow.
They have because there's one in a small little town. There's a Amazon facility there. There's the DC. So they run their parcels out of there, and they have another one just a little bit north of where we live. So one west and one north. So they have, so that's what they run out of. So, so I have a PO box, and I go back and forth with my personal home and my PO box, depending how bad I need whatever I'm buying. So which is, it's like I have if I don't need it bad, I'll have it shipped to my PO box. It does take a little bit longer, which sucks, but I don't. It's like more like I said, I don't need it. I'll have it shipped my PO box. We get paid for it, and there's work. So the clerks have work.
Work the better,
right? So I don't know. I've been noticing that now they're trying to phase out Sunday deliveries in our office, and now it's basically SurePost, and SurePost sucks. And now they're pushing that out on Saturdays. So if it's
they're trying to eliminate Sundays altogether, then
at least in my city, that's what they're trying to do. It's probably, I don't know if I'm going off a limb here, but it's probably just like a trial thing within the post office, kind of like that thing they did. I think it was last year or the year before, where you leave, basically you get your route, you case in the evening, and you pull down in the morning, and you hit the streets a lot sooner.
That's not good. That doesn't work very much. That's just like the consolidated casing nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have a neighbor who worked in a post office that had consolidated casing. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. Even the management there were pissed off about it. They did not like it whatsoever. And I heard from her that the management was so happy to go back to how it used to be, with the red carriers casing their own routes. It was just ridiculous. And I don't know why some up people in higher management or whatever, I think this is a good idea. And they've done this type of before, like a long time ago. It's not sustainable. They think that, having people come in case like 5 a.m. or whatever, because you're not getting all the mail all at once, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, so this was different people casing for regulars? Like they
had like what they would call casers, you have one, and then you have like you either remove or rotate like the labels to show a different route, but the thing is you have to hold forward, stuff like that. You can't put like the bars in there. I don't think you have to have stickers or something on it. It was a nightmare. It was a joke, honestly.
Yeah.
And it caused delays, and it caused customers to get pissed off because they knew that the mail was coming so much later. Keeping people out of the street. Mm-hmm. I think they should be taking the upper management taking cues from us, because we're the ones delivering the street. Many of these people have not delivered in their lives. It's just seriously, could they just listen to us and like get our input instead of like mowing us over and just saying, try this out, do this, we follow the numbers. This is all about numbers these days. It's not about like how it used to be where it was not about numbers. They trusted us to do the job. And hey, senior care said that a couple decades ago was much better. It was much better, less stress, honestly, from what I understood.
Yeah, that's what I've heard the same thing with many of the older carriers in my office. They would say the same thing. 20 years ago, it's like everybody helped each other to get back in a reasonable time, before your 8 hours, clocked off, go home, had a good time. Now it's, I think I mentioned to you before, Nick, one of my supervisors, he's probably like 28-ish, give or take, was a CCA, I think, from what I heard, through the grapevine, for like 4 or 5 months or 6 months, became a 204B. Now he's a manager. And he told me, actually, I didn't tell you, Nick. I don't think I did. He said, quantity over quality. So let that sink in for a second. Quantity over quality. So it's like, so he rather you
sounds like a 204B.
Yeah. So he rather have you do a route and a half, get it done in 10 hours, instead of doing the quality of work, getting it, the piece of mail and or parcel to that house properly.
Yeah.
So,
My
go ahead.
Yeah, my supervisor would never do that thing. You want to make sure. He always tells us, my postmaster, my supervisor always say, make sure it's directed to the right house, because they deal with all these calls, and I don't know how much stress they get from upper. They get stressed from upper management. It's like they can't. It's like they get like from their POOM or higher. It's like they get emails constantly. It's like a never-ending bombardment for them. It's like then you have to deal with people below. I would the management honestly because I don't need to deal with the stress like that. It's too much. That's too much numbers and everything. I can't take it. I'm not physically or mentally like at that. To do that. I like what I'm doing. Working the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're out there in the trenches, like supervisors, should ask us like how to do things, because a lot of senior carriers in my office say, like you guys said, it's not what it used to be. We weren't out delivering at night, things like that. And if they just listen to us carriers, I think we would run the ship a lot better and have everything run smoothly than like some stuff doesn't even make sense. Like,
I know it doesn't make sense at all. It's just not how it used to be. You see old videos from back in the day, like from like the old Britannica video, how it used to be back in the day. And Mr. Doyle going around delivering back in the 40s, I believe it was the late 40s that he was delivering. And besides, it tells the stories about how it was before DPS, so they didn't have as much missorts or barely any missorts at all. Back in the old days.
Up everything.
Yeah,
real cases do. Yeah,
and they do it separate cases, like a letter case. So if you look, I think if you look online on some places, there's pictures of those cases, and then because GPS, I see a lot of missorts from different villages. It's just annoying as crap, and I, deal with it as much as you can.
Right.
And I know the DPS, like it comes from usually from the villages close to you, like or the communities close to you, like the closest sister offices you get. You rarely get something that sometimes I get like these some missorts for places that are supposed to go to England or something, or Ireland, which is weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I haven't came across that. I usually come across like somewhere back east or like somewhere up north. You know what I mean? So it's like it's off. It's like how is the distribution center getting? I don't know. It's like you'll have like the return label from a pre-sort standard will be coming from like Florida, and it's going to like I don't know, like North Dakota or something like that. It's like how does it get stuck in my DPS?
It confused me a lot when I first started. Like, because I wasn't really worried about like the street. Like I wouldn't look at the street. I look at just the number. I'm like, match the number, and then I'm looking at the number. I'm like, this number hasn't hit in a while. I'm passing these houses, and I'm like, well, this is totally not the street I'm on. So I have to backtrack all the way back, and so that was a huge issue when I first started. But
it's I don't know, like I don't know if I want to say this or not, but I'll say it anyways. Okay, so when I was following my OGI, right? So he would give me a satchel because we were doing a parking loop or a relay, however you want to call it, same difference to me, right? So he said before the 3 days are up, he said just like find your next mailbox, walk to it, then you sort the mail in front of when you're doing a parking loop, right? So makes sense because it's like you just got to find that box. When you get there, it's like you're not comfortable, fingering the mail while you're walking. So I'm like, that makes sense. Driving, if you're on a mounted route or dismount route or cluster boxes, it's a little bit more difficult because you don't know where the mail, stops and ends on that part. But that's, a cool little tip that he told me when you're fairly new.
Yeah, that's what I do at still times, and also because if you finger, sometimes you keep going and it speeds up your time. You want to make sure you got the right house because sometimes some of the addresses, sometimes you miss DPS things in the DPS you don't check. Sometimes if I'm in the truck, sometimes I really like crazy about seeing these how it's like the size of the letters are wrong. Like big is going in front of the little ones. Sometimes it takes I reorganize it from small to large to make it easier for me and get rid of the annoyance. And I sometimes get this sorts out of it, but it's not always like that, but it can be annoying. But to like the CCAs, just what Dave said is like, do that. Like, don't finger while you're walking because you need to pay attention to where you're going,
Mhm.
You always
Yeah,
look at
the trip or
Yeah.
ball or dog running after you and you don't even see it. And
Yeah.
that's happened plenty of times.
Yeah. Like luckily I've had a few dogs come at me, but I just lucked out and never got bit. So, always got to have two dog sprays, one on your satchel and one in the shirt pocket. That's what I do, at least in the shirt pocket.
Yeah.
One of the two, because I keep it on my right and I keep the pin. And the other thing too is make sure you have plenty of pins to endorse everything.
Yeah, 100%. I always carry pens like that. My academy instructor would get so mad when we didn't have our pens. So you need a pen, everything.
Yeah.
So do you have like coyotes or anything like that by you guys? I got to worry about that. Foxes, coyotes.
There's coyotes where I live at, but I'm too in town for them to do anything.
Yeah,
So.
we actually, which was strange for Long Island, was that on near the Route 11 and 19, like it was right on the Route 19, but we had a couple coyotes going through the area. It was like, what the hell? We're close to New York City, and
wow.
From where? And we tried to look around because it was on the news, no less, that some people saw on the cameras. I was thinking, and I was looking around, like when I was delivering down there, saying, where the hell are they hiding? There's not many ways they can get into the backyards over there. Like some of these houses are like back to back, and there's they have fences around their backyards, but sometimes you do that, and then some places you got like all the deer coming through, especially you get deers and even the turkeys. Oh my freaking god! When I did that Sunday route, like delivering, I could think it was Shoreham or whatever it was. My truck literally got chased by these 4 massive turkeys, and they wouldn't. They don't.
Man in disguise.
So you were in the news getting chased down by turkeys a couple years ago.
And someone actually recorded the turkeys. I had on the video. They didn't see me getting chased, but some people did see me get chased. My truck getting chased. They go crazy when they hear the truck. It's like something triggers them. It just
territorial or something.
I can't. It was weird, honestly. I got it. And my wife really cracked up laughing when she heard I got my truck on my freaking turkeys.
You got rats down there in New York?
What happened?
You got rats in New York?
Depend. I think more in South. I haven't seen like a rat in like the Long Island, suburbs, give or take a few, but you don't know what you could find. Sometimes I see an eagle. I can see a falcon flying overhead. I have seen those flying overhead, but the area I work in, like, if you give a reference, like one of the areas in Long Island some of our routes used to be on an estate, like was owned by one man a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people who know that can look it up and easily can find it, but the thing is, it's just different. We used to be a lot more farmland back in the old days, but it depends,
Mm-hmm.
So some places, because North Shore, you get like, houses more spaced apart, give or take a few, because you got the terrain, and then lower South Shore, you get much more closer together with the houses, so you get much, and it's just. But we have some people. We have CCA's been sent out. Once I had a CCA, my friend is a regular, got sent out for a week to East Hampton, all the way out in like Eastern Suffolk, all the way out not far from Montauk. And it was like, and that's like well over an hour or so from where we lived. I was praying to God and say, don't send me out there, especially with my kid, having kids. I don't want to be commuting all the way, like taking hours to get home,
Right.
It was insane. But, but I could tell the CCA, they can send you anywhere within a mile, like whatever they has, or sometimes they'll ask you to go on detail to other, volunteer do detail in other places that really need carriers. I think in California, they had something like that, or Nevada or something, Dave. Like they had some places like they needed help, with carriers coming from other countries, per diem at a hotel or something to deliver for like a month, give or take a few.
Not this past December, but the December before. I think it was before COVID. San Francisco was asking for help, so you would be out in just the month of December. They would pay hotel and food and everything.
That's awesome.
And you would stay there and you do whatever route they have you assigned that day. So yeah, I don't know. I hear San Francisco is it's interesting. I hate driving through San Francisco in my personal car. I could only imagine, doing
in a mail truck.
In a mail truck. I know they do walkouts because I see the
Union videos, right?
Yeah. I've seen those walkout, the green olive boxes throughout San Francisco. So
I
could only imagine going up and down those hills, man.
Oh my God. The hills, up the stairs, give it to
you. That too. I don't know if you guys ever been to San Francisco yet?
Yeah, I have been to. Last time I've been to San Francisco was back in 2001, before, like a couple months before 9/11. I was on a team tour, so
okay,
we were going from Alaska to Hawaii for this trip. So, and before we went to Hawaii, we flew out from San Francisco to Kona.
Okay.
So we went to San Francisco. We went to the spots, like we went to Berkeley, and we went to we didn't go to Haight-Ashbury or whatever like that. We didn't, we went to Fisherman's. We went on the trolleys,
Mm-hmm.
It was just, but because I grew up listening to Green Day, I was more interested in, the areas that they played, but we never went to Gilman Street or anything like that. We stayed to certain areas. The vibes are different in each section of the Bay,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I have years, I can't believe it's been 21 years since I've been in San Francisco,
Yeah. So I don't know. They do have a lot of stairs too. I would hate to be a carrier out there, man. Just do nothing but complexes too. We got a carrier that he did transfer from San Francisco, if I recall correctly. His route, I believe, was 3 apartment complexes. Yeah. So you go floor to floor to floor to floor of the high rises, man. You just deliver mail, and you have to go and find each apartment and deliver the parcels. It's like, I don't know if
you forget a package from the bottom floor and you're at the top floor and you're like, oh.
Oh yes, I remember that in the Amazon Sunday. I put lifted a broad bed frame up the freaking stairs one at a freaking time. It was I was like, what the hell? And these places had no elevators. I was thinking, are you God kidding me? Please don't do this. Please, why the hell are you delivering the? Why is Amazon doing this? And to the people who built the buildings, why the hell did you not put freaking elevators in these things? Really?
Man, you're making everybody's lives easier. Just put an elevator.
Yeah. When you're in the city, if you listen about Anthony Puccio, who did that for 62 years, he did the Robert Wagner houses, a 9 apartment complex for years. They would do the cluster boxes down the basement. And they had 900 possible deliveries, from what I understood. His route was a 900 delivery route. They're route 11 in Triborough office, I believe, in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But they loved him. They loved him over there, and he was that popular that they had the Precariat Cabbie named for him. So it's he's someone to aspire to, how someone who does the work right comes in, and interacts well with the community. That's what I would think. CCAs, to all CCAs, watch the videos that the union put out. There's a video that follows Mr. Pooch and shows what he was about, and also watch the strike at 40. What it is. See all these people how they really did build where we are now, with all the benefits and everything, and also how we did the job. Some people videos of the San Francisco routes in some of these videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never, and like I said, and like you said, how all the hills, I couldn't take it every day. I don't know how they are able to do that every single day without he's giving out on them. Period.
Yeah, it's tough out there, man. It's hills and stairs, man, are a different a different
Different-
ball game.
Yeah,
I
I
know
love
this.
flat routes. If it's flat, oh man, my knees are gonna be like, thank you, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but-
It's
we got two hilly routes in our office. Like two hilly routes, our 8 and 9 are like right next to each other. Some sections of it are flat areas, and then some of like go dip down and up. From what I understand, and we had like an L on the route for like Route 9, but we eventually got the lower CCA eventually got the ProMaster assigned to it. We had a third ProMaster with the new scanner holder for it, like for the brand new scanner we have, that piece of shit scanner we got, so noisy. And also that's the point. We're going back to the point where, jobs better than day, because you didn't have scanners back then tracking your moves, you were not, so you really were out by yourself, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because these things track you. And some people say the new scanners have like voice recorders or whatever. I don't believe that nonsense, honestly. It's
Yeah,
like
I've heard they can hear you and record you, like see you too. I've heard that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Some regular carriers in my office told me that, so I don't know how true that is, but I don't chance it.
actually, I think it's just keep it holstered, keep it holstered until I get, to the door. But some people break the damn thing. I don't know why they don't have screen protectors, and especially in the cold, it's horrible because recently it's like so cold. I had to take off my gloves, and I felt like if I was going to get frostbite at that fast rate if I didn't put the gloves back on. There's not really many gloves I can find that work well, especially with
You could finger the mail with.
Yeah.
There's a thing on the scanner where you could change it to the setting where it's like glove setting or whatever, where it will.
It
change it, then you could.
Yeah, it makes the scanner much more sensitive. So if you put in like go all of a sudden it tries to go
going crazy.
like the brick was like a lot better. Like you didn't have that nonsense happening, But the old one had the battery sucked. The old battery sucked.
Mhm.
Right.
But some people joke like, oh, if an attacking dog was coming, you had the brick like there to knock on the head, which is like, oh my god, that's very gruesome.
I'd rather have the brick, honestly, than the freaking cell phone that they
gave us.
Yeah.
Yeah, our when we got the new scanners, the clerks got the old brick, like new 8 bricks, for them, because they had when they had the bricks, we had the previous generation. So I think when new generations come out, they're gonna keep getting the ones we had.
Mm-hmm.
It just it's just it's hard. But you and Nick, you're going to be like what, like at the end of this year, you're gonna have like getting close to your PTF conversion eventually, right?
Yep, December 26th. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, that's just true. And I have my friend who was in the office, a 3 route office, like 2 full routes and unlocks. He's coming PTF on the 26th, but since the office doesn't have 2 full route, full routes, he'll have to still be set up. But he says you could probably have a better choice of where to go. He doesn't want to be sent to this office, in Long Island. That's horrible. The one I mentioned that I had that problem with that door, with that van with the door. I'm not going to mention the particular offices. I don't want people from that office like knowing what I'm talking about. But some people called, because when I went to that office, the person there, this carrier there said, "Welcome to hell," because he said that it was literally like hell. It was like, because management was bad over there and everything like that. I thought I had a friend who was in management being sent over there to help turn it around, but it seems it went back to its old ways, unfortunately. And I heard stories of some places, like some masters and some supervisors are actually going out doing peace, to help, because they're so understaffed that they go out on their help and volunteer to help out the carriers.
Yeah.
And I have respect for those people.
The supervisors who go out and carry routes.
Yeah, some people who are because they're so understaffed they can't get any, and they actually do it. Literally sometimes put on a uniform and just go out and deliver and help out, or even deliver in their in their like regular clothes to go help out.
Yeah,
that's a leader.
Cross craft. I know they're not supposed to cross craft, but sometimes the situation, does it. And I know somebody who has done that in another office. And the guy who I'm talking about, like my fellow carriers, the senior carriers love him to death, like they would do anything for him, honestly.
Well,
and
they respect hard work ethic, which is very rare to find nowadays.
The guy I'm talking about earns my respect. Like he's earned my respect so much because he And I can tell you that one guy in my office, like, he, when the guy watched us for 3 weeks, one of our carriers who like, complains a lot, did for 3 weeks, because this is how much the guy this guy was respected, that I would suggest like anyone who's like, I hope that I would like that supervisor, someone who actually had like, a good amount of experience, the supervisor who was at the Amazon I did was delivered for like 25 years, but the thing is, you have to understand, like, maybe people like new CCAs, like, if you're just joining, like, it's not the easiest job in the world, you got, it's very physical, very, also mental, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
you get to be outside and see the nature and all that stuff. Like
and you interact. Yeah, and you interact with people. That's the beauty of it. You're in the community. You're becoming part of the community. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And make it comfortable living while doing it.
Yes,
that's how I look at it. It's a comfortable living. It's not. Can you make money? Yes, you can. You could live, but you could definitely live comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like
you can make a lot or comfortable.
Yeah, I know. It's like one of my. I think he's gonna retire in 3 years, but a guy in my office, he has his house paid off, and I believe he hasn't told me himself, but I heard he has 2 rental homes, and he's been on the ODL list for like 20 something years. So
he's got money.
Yeah, he's got so he's got money. I'm pretty sure his TSP is through the roof. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like he just probably just waiting for to retire and let that freaking money come in. So
like there's so many stories like that. Like my sister office has someone like that who has a couple rental properties, and they're still working because they're on cupcake routes. They're just making so much money, and this is a really good job, and people only see the negative and they don't see the positive. People stay here for 30 years for a reason. It's like you can make good money.
It's gonna be tough at first, man. It's just you got to get through. From my experience, it'll take about 6-ish months, depending how quick you catch on, to get comfortable with the job. Because by the time you start knowing, they're gonna throw you on walking routes. Good portion of the time.
But everyone's done it before. Everyone's had to go through it.
So, once you start getting comfortable with routes, it's just you just build on your speed after. Of course, management's going to hound you to go faster and faster and faster. Guess what? When you go faster, you're going to get yourself into an accident. Guess what? It's your fault. Not the supervisor's fault. It's your fault.
Right. Yeah, and also you don't run it by your by your character, because that reputation will carry with you
for a while.
You gotta take time, and you're not a machine. You're just a human being. You have to do what's best. Like ask the previous carriers, like what the street times are. Look at the book. See what the when to stop. You determine when you break it. When you want to do lunch. Take the lunch and never miss a break. And if you're not hungry, and you want to take a 30-minute break, just take your 30-minute break. Make sure you have fluids during the summer. Take your fluids, anything to hydrate, water, Gatorade or whatever it is you do to keep yourself hydrated. A lot of electrolytes. You gotta keep yourself hydrated during the summer, especially if you're in hot areas like Arizona, in the West, or even up here in New York, where sometimes gets to like 9 degrees. How to keep yourself hydrated? That's the most important thing. You need to eat something. Bring a snack or so. Bring nuts or anything like that. But also, your truck as neat as you found it. If it's dirty, sweep it up. Just keep it clean. You want to have not a clean workplace to drive out of.
It's always, it's gonna be hard, but it's doable.
Right.
And also, and also too, like the new CCAs you started, like we can all tell you that me and Dave could tell you like before, is that you're getting a path to career that was not existing over a few years ago. Now you have like an end point, a light at the end of the tunnel. 24 months and you become a PTF. But if you're even luckier and someone retires, the next one in line, or it's you're not. And also, what I would suggest you do, if you feel like it, I would do it put yourself on like work assignment first if you want to just be able to do overtime in your route. But if you feel like you want to make more money, 12 hours. But remember, don't let the pressure getting doing a piece like, feed, I
Yeah.
will also, if you're working in the dark, make sure you have a good headlamp on you, one that look on Amazon or anything like that. They will have good headlamps for a good price. I have found one, and it has to be able to see the distance, you have to see the mail, and you also keep yourself aware of your environment, but also determine you are, how safe you want. If you want to deliver it back, you got your supervisor know that you're gonna be bringing it back. You gotta be safe. You can't just up in the dark. It's just you don't want to want to come back home as you came to work. Okay, so but we all been through it. It's hard, but give it a chance. Don't just quit in the first couple weeks. People who quit like for 3 days, like someone quit at the academy. So this job's not for everyone. But I would research everything. Look at you got like what they doing. They have Mike Chong, JH, all these people, devour all the information you can, even on, and also research the position, everything, and see if this is what you want to do for your life, but you're coming into a job that has benefits, you put yourself in the middle class, how many jobs you can find that, you don't need like a college degree and you can actually make decent money for a living,
Yeah.
Entry level. It's very hard to find. You'll put in a lot of hours, but it'll be worth it. Trust me.
Yeah. And it does, as a, like what Nick said, an entry level that has pretty good health, like vision and dentals are pretty good, same as the regulars. The health insurance isn't all that great or spectacular until you get converted, but it's something. And
Yeah, it's still something for being part-time technically and
yeah,
affordable.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, what is it still $50 at this time of this recording, Nick?
Mine's like $43 for health insurance every 2 weeks. It's like 43 something.
Okay, it might be $50 here in California. When I was
Everything's
CCA.
higher in California.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something, man. It's something. It's better than nothing. It's it's I did have dental and vision when I was a CCA, and I did have health before I got converted. Never used the health insurance. I did use the dental, but that sort of thing. But it's great. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I could tack on here.
Also, when you eventually become a regular, it's about annual leave. Annual leave, for example, when you're a CCA, you don't get it paid up front. Like you don't get paid up front. You earn like CCAs. I think it's $2 or $4, 2 or 4 hours per paycheck. Every pay period. For PTF, 4 hours, but then eventually you earn up like 13 days of annual leave per year. When you become a regular, that the one that you earn over the year, becomes it converts to being put into, it'll be paid here along with the other annual leave that pays out. So say like you're 80 annual leave, then you're also paid out front 13 days of annual leave that you would have originally gotten your paycheck. So you probably get 400 hours, but then as you get higher years, I bet you can earn up to 5. You get paid out 5 weeks of annual leave up front in the future, but then you get the maximum carryover 440.
I think it's 520.
Yeah, right now,
which is
COVID.
Yeah,
that should be made perfect. That should be perfect. The thing is also with the annual leave thing, I wish that you pay up front, but then you can still go through the year, like as you did as CCA, you know what I mean? Because then if you use some annual leave up, then you can make some back, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It can be annoying as hell, but also for CCA, it's like, you don't leave yet. You become a PTF and a regular or a regular, whatever, first you'll sick leave. When you convert to PTF or CCA regular, they're gonna have you tell for an orientation, and tell you what your benefits are, what you do with the TSP, because there's different funds. I'm not versed in the funds aspect or whatever it is, but always match up to 5%. They'll match up to you for 5%.
Right.
When you're as you get up in the steps and everything like that, because you do it, you don't want to have nothing left to use for for expenses for the day,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, get your life insurance, get life insurance, because they can offer, as when you're a regular, PTF a regular. I take mine takes like what, $50 out of my paycheck every week, but like for $100,000, your life or term insurance or whatever it is, it's good because they could offer you that, health plan, because my wife works with the city, so she has a very good health plan, so I use on that. But
Right.
the has a great health plan, and also just look on what you could, but like I said, it's like it could be a slog. The job could be a slog, but like I said, it's work in the end. And especially you want to provide for your kids, that's very important. I do this job primarily like to provide for my out and also to provide for them. It's so you can sometimes you'll miss things, but if you fight hard enough and you probably can get what you need to, like if you got to go to a wedding or something, but you really got to get document. If you're going to be out for like 3 days sick, you have to have documentation. Because they will ask for you, because they can get you if you don't get your documentation. If you have to go to a funeral, because I recently had to go to a funeral, I had to get documentation from the funeral home just so I had proof. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I had to do that because I had to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
days off for CCAs. Well, a lot of you are going to be in offices that rotate days off. Okay.
Mhm.
Some office, I know my friend who's going to be on a PTF soon. He's in an office that they fixed day. Like, one carrier has a fixed day off of Wednesday and the other has a fixed day of Saturday. So there's a carrier in his office that has Monday to Friday. So it works Friday, which is in our profession, but
Yeah.
it's just office, just focus on what you do. If they tell you have to come in, but remember, you're not to be on call, but they could force you in. But the thing is, they tell you before you leave that you are coming in.
Yeah,
That's
it's happened to
important.
me before.
Yeah. So NACCA, try not to make so many plans. You got to remember that this, and don't call out or bang out like in the first 90 days, because they can get. I know someone who reached the CCA, came in, banged times. Matt, eventually they resigned instead of getting fired. And I knew a guy who was a CCA. He did 2 relays on. He did like 4 relays on a route that used to take 2 hours. We took like over 4 hours or so.
Right.
And like minutes or more than that. And it was like it stupefied us, who've done the section of the route. It's on my float, but it's like, what the hell is going on, man? You gotta do the job. You can't go too slow, or else it can get you in trouble. But you have to do it at the speed that, and gotta watch the knees and everything, because you're gonna waste the knees away if you're not careful.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. What it is, you gotta do what you must. Yeah, it's just you have to do the job right. You gotta do the job right. You focus, and like I said, if dude, I know it's hard, but I promise you, it'll be worth it. Just don't quit in the beginning. Give it a month or so. That's the important thing I tell you to all new CCAs. It's hard first. Nick and I have said, it gets easier over time, and also if you do a route you'll remember the names. The route I held down for 1.5 years, I know a lot of the names. I even know the names of the families in the first relay in order.
Right.
It's that good, and you remember them by name. They remember you. You take care of them, they'll take care of you. That's the thing. I would never trade for anything. Because I was like gone between jobs. CCA. I have a master's degree, but my field was so specialized. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's hard. I was a geography major and everything, and masters, and couldn't find a job that really was specific. That's a very specific field. It's very hard, you know.
Yeah, it is. I could only imagine. And you're a mailman.
It's my father that pretty much got me into the mail, into delivery. He was the one that suggested I apply. You know, they used to do the tests. I think they
Right.
removed the they don't do really the test anymore. Right? And I know because and to people who are just applying to become a CCA, it takes a while to listen to them. This is a federal job. The application process takes a long time with other federal, even though we're like in branch of business, but we're still federal. So
That's true.
yeah, and also many of the people who have holidays cease to new CCA. Some days you're pretty much not going to be getting weekends at this rate. Just to warn you, it is going to be you're going to be working a lot of Sundays. That's so. But the thing is, I don't know if they're going to let. Some probably can get. Some places are able to get exemptions because have to go to church and everything like that. But most places that what I mean. It's just be depending on what you do. But Saturdays, Sundays, you're not going to. And once you become a regular and you have a rotating route, sometimes you'll get a 3-day weekend, and then a week after that,
Yeah,
So
the whole rotating thing.
Yeah, go have a fixed Sunday schedule, and that
Mhm.
you have fixed Sunday rotating. It goes rotates. Union will give and they go by colors, like what your route's on,
Yeah,
For T6, you'll make like 1,000 more in pay per year because you're doing 5, once a week, one every other day.
Mhm.
And it's flow all driving or mix or two.
Right.
And if you do cluster boxes, I treat the cluster boxes like as you're doing a parking loop. You take the time, if it's like 15 slots, I take 15 minutes or give or take a few at it.
Yeah,
Close to a parking loop.
makes sense.
Because you go too fast on it, then it's gonna send alerts to the people above, like, oh, they're going too fast. Maybe we should add on to this route, And I don't want God protect the routes at all costs, because because we lost 2 routes years ago, and I don't want to see any more get removed from any offices. And I knew it was 2.5, honestly. One route got reduced to just 4 relays. That's it.
Yeah.
Our sister office, we have a number of sister offices that lost Amazon, pretty much. Like they don't deliver SurePost and our stuff,
Yeah.
Amazon's, as our postmaster just said, it dropped dramatically, because you got, I think, more Amazon, because I see multiple, like 3 trucks on the routes I'm on, it's just literally in the trucks. I even seen some of them deliver out of the car vans, no less, like laser ship.
Yeah, I've seen those before too. Over here where I'm at.
It's different, but the thing is, depending on where you are, depending on the town, some more mount. If it's fixed, then they'll have mounted,
Yeah.
But I think if maybe we'll dig deep, the new constructions, like usually they prefer to have a cluster box built at these places rather than suggest, set to the postal service, we want curbside or something like that. Because most new routes these days are not walking. They're not walking. It's mostly the driving or curbside variety.
Yeah, not sure if the post office is telling the city or county, depending if it's if there's this mayor and all that, if they're telling whoever's controlling the area, their little town or village.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they're trying to say, hey, we're mandating to put, new cluster boxes in new developments or, something like that. So,
yeah, because usually, but I could tell, and if you do curbside deliveries, the one thing, the new generation boxes, the big ones that can fit the packages in, or the old farm boxes, those things are huge.
Yeah, I know.
And I love those, especially. I was at Amazon Sunday. It was like I had a big package and luckily it fit in the farm box. So I said, thank God this thing exists, But most people have these all little things, Also, if the mailbox is damaged, report it, so that way the postmaster or supervisor can tell the customer that, these boxes have to be fixed or throw up the code,
Mm-hmm.
Some people even use like freaking microwaves for as a mailbox. Booney, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really depends on what you're doing, you know, it's like I said, it's great, great job, you know.
Yeah, it is.
I'm happy to be doing it and like working for 5 years, give it, you know, exactly like 5 years in September 17th, I believe. So was my anniversary. Be working
Right.
6. I won't have count. I won't until since March of 2020, since before the pandemic hit, you know.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're still wearing masks in our offices right now. We're still getting most of our almost all our carriers are vaccinated, you know. You know, we're just doing what we can, you know, we're just doing to survive it. Whenever we follow what the mandates say, you know, just do what it's required, you know. And we represent the government, we represent the post office, you know, don't do political stuff in a uniform, please. From your
Yeah.
job, from political opinions, you know, outside, you know, not should keep it outside, you know,
Mhm.
don't want to cause, you know, tensions, you know, the
That
country's
too.
divided as it is. We don't need to be flaming it at all.
Yeah, that's always the fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. I gotta get going, getting these kids ready
Yeah.
for bed. Because
All
it's
right.
school now.
Right. Oh,
Thank
yeah, that too. Well, thanks, Ollie, for hopping on. And Nick had an emergency, so you gotta hop
Yeah.
off. So,
Okay. Thank you, and I hope to see you again. Okay.
all right, you too, man. Take care,
Take-
Ollie.
Take care. Bye
All right.
bye.
Later.